Right, hello there everybody, Adam Clery, ACFC, and Trent Alexander-Arnold is leaving Liverpool, I think. Like, I've seen loads of mock-ups of him in a Madrid kit and people are sort of talking like he's already left, even though he hasn't, but everyone's pretty confident about the whole thing, so let's just assume he is. And opinion feels like pretty split down the middle on this. Like, to some, he's been a tremendous servant of the club who's won everything for them, and now after 9 years, he's going to the only club in the world where he could realistically achieve more, so like, fair play. But to others, he is just like in his own hand on Snapchat. But both sides, I think, make compelling arguments. Anyway, though, you can make your own mind up about all of that. We are here today to look at what impact, if any, this has on Liverpool Football Club. Is it a catastrophe? Is it not actually that much of a big deal? I have some considerable thoughts. So first off, yes, super quick, ACFC, brand new channel. Thank you so much for joining us. This will change, and this will change, and it'll be a lot slicker and a lot sexier, but yet somehow, that's insane. I genuinely hyperventilated when I hit 25,000 subs over the weekend, so thank you for your patience, and thank you for all of that. But content. Liverpool fans, you will probably be aware of most of this already, but just as a refresher, or just in case you've not seen too much of them this season, Slot has used Alexander-Arnold exceptionally well this season. But if you go all the way back to when he first broke into Jurgen Klopp's ultra-high, gegenpressing, boom, heavy metal 4-3-3, the way he was used there was as a sort of like David Beckham style width and deliveries from the right-hand side, and then as a key part of their high press. This was his heat map from that entire first season, I think 17-18, when he broke in. You can see everything's pretty much down this right-hand side, but it tails right the way off as it gets into the final third. He does not attack the byline, he does not look to get round on the overlap. He likes to actually sit more in this pocket here, which is where, if you remember David Beckham, that's where a lot of his best deliveries came from. Alexander-Arnold was a revelation in this part of the pitch for creating chances for the players in the middle. But then, of course, as time moved on and teams found ways to counter this sort of high-pressing philosophy, Klopp decided Liverpool needed to be better at controlling games of football, to have higher possession, to be a little bit slower, to be a bit more, what's the word I want, boring. And the main thing he tried was making Trent Alexander-Arnold one of these inverted fullbacks that were all the rage like 2 or 3 seasons ago. He would move infield from the right back position that then shuffle around, and you get this box midfield designed to help you control games of football because, as you know, most teams only have 3 lads in there. I've dropped them very messily. So you've got 4, you're going to be able to play around them. And if you take his heat map from when he first broke into the team, and we slowly, so you get a picture of it, morph it into his heat map from last season, you'll see it's quite a dramatic change, spending a lot less time in this part of the pitch and loads more in this central area. But crucially, and the reason I said it was kind of a little bit boring, is because all this stuff in the middle, there's way more of it in the defensive third when they're building up slowly than there is in the attacking third when they're being sexy and fun and dangerous. And this, in my opinion anyway, did work to an extent. Like, Liverpool did feel better on the ball, like they controlled games and they weren't getting like played through in these exciting like quasi basketball situations, but they finished 5th the first year they tried it, then like 3rd the second. So it was good, but it didn't improve them. But if you would allow me to grossly oversimplify it, while it wasn't very good for Liverpool, I do think it was good for Trent Alexander-Arnold, because there's so few players in the world who can actually do this. It made him look like this amazing, rare, like once-in-a-generation talent, while the rest of the team just kind of weren't as exciting. But this season, though, journey through time and space now absolutely finished. This season, though, Arne Slot, I doff the proverbial cap to you, because he has used Trent Alexander-Arnold, he should be there, absolutely brilliantly. He's now back to holding the width for Liverpool down the right-hand side, which allows Mo Salah to play a lot closer to the goal, but he still does invert into the middle of the pitch as and when the situation requires, because he is really good at that. Except now, if you look at his heat map, you can see he does it a lot more in the final third, where his ability on the ball can hurt teams a lot better than he does in his own third, because he doesn't need to be there to help them play out. Now, don't get me wrong, he does go in there from time to time, but it's almost always situational and a decision that's made on the pitch as the game is developing. Like, so good has Ryan Gravenberch been this season as like one of the few genuine single pivots in European football when everybody else desperately wants at least two in there. He just leaves him to do that job and he helps Liverpool play out. But when teams do manage to squeeze him really well and start causing problems, then he will feel free to move in to help out, but he tends to be the one making that decision. And it's made him so much more useful because there's three really important roles he can do in any single game. And of course, if the point was not already obvious to you, then the fact that Gravenberch very rarely needs him in there frees him up to be further up the pitch, usually on this right-hand side, which in turn frees Mo Salah up. So it has this lovely knock-on effect, and it's why Liverpool have been so good this season. IMHO. And actually, in fact, it's not just IMHO, because when you look at his numbers and his stats for this season, they are mind-bending. His shots, his assists, his XG, his shot-creating actions, all in the very top 1 and 2% of players across Europe this season, which means he's like now become one of the most effective creative weapons from the back four in the world. Passes, through balls, key passes, passes in at the final third, passes into the penalty area, all absolutely incredible. And he's even back, if you look here, to crossing it into the box, which is something he wasn't doing when he was inverting into the middle. Like, they're getting him the ball in all the right areas and they're getting it to him a lot. So he's a huge, huge part of what they're doing. And because they're top of the league, you can see just like how big a part of that success he's been. Like, they've harnessed him finally this season into being able to do all the things he's really good at and crucially protecting him from the things he's not. Because this is where I think Slot deserves the most amount of credit. These are his defensive numbers from the last 2 seasons when he was getting moved more into the middle of the pitch. And these are those same numbers from this season. Now, what this manager has done is made him way less of a defensive liability than he has been in previous seasons. And he's now contributing, I think, pretty well off the ball. So he's having a brilliant season, yes, but it's all mostly down to just what an excellent fit he is in this system that Slot has partially devised for him. So losing him for Nout is an absolute disaster, right? Like, he's a vital tactical cog, and in terms of how he profiles, he's virtually irreplaceable, right? Well, that is not what I think. I think Liverpool will be different without him, yes, but A, not that much different, and B, not different in a bad way. So first up, and yep, I'm pretty much just going to rewind through the whole video here, what Slot has actually done is taken him from being the worst one-on-one defender in Europe, that's what this stat means, to simply one of the worst. That's an improvement, but it's still nowhere near good enough at this level. And what that means is that in every single game Liverpool play, attackers always try and target him specifically. They try and isolate him, they try and get him in one-on-one situations, because when they do, more often than not, they can beat him. And also because of the way Slot specifically instructs Salah not to waste his time tracking back, that he'll try and cover for that in other ways, it is the closest thing Liverpool have to a glaring weakness. Like, this stat that the BBC published a few weeks ago absolutely floored me, right? If you divide the pitch into sort of a central, a left, and a right third, so not in the middle thirds, like the widthways thirds, right? Liverpool's opponents have over 44% of their touches on this left-hand side of the pitch. They have like 32 on the right and 23 in the middle, which doesn't sound all of that wild, right? But if you rank those percentages with the rest of the Premier League, right? This is the lowest percentage on that side in the league. This is the lowest percentage in the middle in the league. And this is the highest percentage in the entire league for touches down this side. Every single team comes up against Liverpool and tries to get in here. And they're also, by extension, conceding the 5th highest number of chances total. Bear in mind, like, how few chances Liverpool concede compared to the rest of the league. The 5th highest number of chances in the league from the left-hand side. Now, it doesn't lead to a lot of goals. They defend them quite well because you've got Alisson, you've got Van Dijk, you've got Konate, but teams have a lot of joy making something happen from this part of the pitch. And Alexander-Arnold has started all but 3 Premier League games he's been available for in this part of the pitch. So it is him. Like, I don't think it's his fault necessarily. He just doesn't profile like a particularly good defensive right back, and Liverpool sometimes struggle to give him the necessary cover. What he brings going forward is more than worth it, but undeniably, this is the soft part of Liverpool that teams feel they can get at, and that's because of him. And again, just want to reiterate this because it's the internet, I know how it gets. That's not a criticism of him as an individual or a player. It's a fault in the system. But regardless, right, what it does mean in the context of losing him as a player in this squad is, I think, when you look at his offensive output, but then compare it to how much he is targeted, I think you can take a bit of a hit here. You can have somebody who doesn't necessarily bring all of this to the team if the trade-off is you can tighten up a little bit in this area. And also, saying that, if I'm Arne Slot, I am aware of this emerging trend in right-backs across Europe as being these hyper-athletic, these super athletes who play vertically, which is to say, like from there to there, that's considered up in football, vertically up the entire side of the pitch, and effectively in the process feel like having 2 players instead of 1. Robinson at Fulham, Kirkes at Bournemouth, Hakimi, Frimpong, Dumfries, players who have it in them for 90 minutes to go the entire way up this side of the pitch to add to the press and the attack when they need to, but also still be back in position every single time the opposition plays through you. Effectively meaning they're marking 2 different players in different phases of the game. So doing 2 people's work with just 1 body. And Liverpool, by the way, have seen this firsthand this season. Like Anthony Robinson's best performance for Fulham came against Liverpool, where yes, they were down to 10 men, but the way he was breaking forward even late in the game from these really, really deep positions and still being there to mark Mo Salah when Liverpool had the ball is sort of like a good example of how it's done. And also, yep, any excuse to mention this, Newcastle showed them how effective it can be in the Carabao Cup final because they had Tino Livramento pushing all the way up onto Jarrell Quansah when Liverpool had the ball at the back, but then still being there to man-mark Mo Salah when Liverpool played through their press. And then lo and behold, the second goal, he's got the legs, he's got the energy to go beyond Quansah and get a cross in. Like, he was their biggest attacking outlet down that side, but also back defending when he needed to be. And Trent Alexander-Arnold is a lot of things, but he is not a fullback who is ever going to do that. Just to go back to Robinson, as he's sort of the quintessential example of this in the league this season. When you look at his ball carrying numbers, and bear in mind, this is a team who see a lot less of the ball than Liverpool, so you can sort of mentally inflate these a little bit if you want. What he offers the team in terms of the width he provides, the attacking threat, how he gets into the box, how he gets into the final third, I would argue that's as impactful as what Trent does with the ball at his feet through his passing, but he's doing it purely through ball progression and running and just sort of being direct. Like this, in my opinion, and possibly the opinion of Arne Slot, is the direction fullbacks are going in. And we look at Trent's comparative numbers, yeah, he does okay. He sees an awful lot of the ball. He's not afraid of running with it. But when you look at the stuff that measures just how incisive this is, he's found massively lacking. But do you know whose numbers are not lacking in this regard? Who does look to be the very model of this modern ultra athlete up and down vertical fullback that everybody's going to want so much? You're going to like this. Connor, middle name Bradley. Like, bloody hell. Those are already at 21 years old, elite ball carrying and threat through ball carrying numbers. Like, he's arguably already one of the best fullbacks at doing this in the Premier League, and he's had what? 2 starts in the league this season? 3 starts in the league this season? The guy is right there. Like, do not get me wrong, he is nowhere near as good on the ball as Trent Alexander-Arnold is. Like, just to go back to his heat map, he could not come in and give you a like-for-like replacement and give you this sort of contribution in this area of the pitch. That's not who he is. You could argue he's not as good a player as Trent Alexander-Arnold is, but in the specific way that fullback play feels like it's going, in that regard, he is and I don't mind saying this, already superior. Defensively as well, you could not move on the internet after the Liverpool-Real Madrid game for the clips of him tracking back Mbappe, working all the way back down the flank, which is the other part of the job. So there's not really any major concerns there. Like, weirdly, he has the same defensive deficiency of getting dribbled past as Trent Alexander-Arnold does, but already, if you look at the numbers, he's not great, but he is better. So yes, like, don't get me wrong, it must absolutely suck to lose a player as good as he is, who is local to the area, who allegedly loves and lives and breathes the football club, and not see a penny come your way for it. But honestly, I think this is a good thing for Liverpool. I think it opens so many interesting possibilities for them as a football team. Like, I think Conor Bradley is the exact kind of player they would want to reinvest a transfer fee for if they'd got one. But they don't need to do that because I don't know who you'd go and buy who's better than he already is. And I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, like, Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving Liverpool for free says some stuff about the way the club's being run. It says some stuff about him, and all of that is arguably quite bad. But just purely in terms of what it means for the football, he is opening up a pathway to the kind of player I think ultimately they would want in that position. So maybe it's good. Maybe it's good in away. But anyway, speaking of away, I am now also away myself because it's lunchtime and I finished the video. But Liverpool fans, please, my God, let me know what you make of all of this, because I can't quite get my head around it. Some people are really angry, some people are really not. So if you could explain the situation to me like I'm 5, I'd really appreciate that. And only slightly more importantly though, again, welcome to ACFC. It's the new channel. I'm doing it with The Independent. It's really, really fun and really, really good. And I can't believe how many subs we've had already. So if you have enjoyed this and you think maybe you'll enjoy some in the future, you telling your friends or putting it on social media or just sort of like waving to people that we are here and we are doing this is more important and does more good than anything YouTube and its little algorithm can offer us. So to those who have been doing that, thank you so, so much. And to those who are doing it in the future, thank you for then. Still a long way to go, of course. Like, fancy background, fancy motion graphics, fancy everything. Like, look, this just says my name. Soon that will animate in and it will hurt your eyes to even look upon it. But you can't, it is correct. You can get me across all the social medias at Adam Clery, Clery. And that's it. That's it. It's Trent Alexander-Arnold. God bless you, sir. I hope you have a lovely time in Madrid, but I think Liverpool will be okay. In fact, they'll be more than okay. I think it's good for everyone. I want everyone to be happy, is what I want. And I think when everybody calms down, that is what this will do. Especially if your name's Conor Bradley. Goodbye.